Ichigo awakens by Talacha, chapter 76, white versus black, with Ichigo. Ichigo coughed out the blood that filled his throat and lungs, while Kyoto watched in horror as a clawed hand speared through Ichigo's chest, followed soon by a black skull biting down on the crook of Ichigo's neck. It wasn't long after that it seemed like Ichigo's Ryetsu was weakened while the hollows grew stronger. Ichigo concentrated a bala in his right hand while the other grabbed the hand that went through him. He threw himself forward while blasting the hollow's head, forcing it to let go, but also tear off a mouthful of flesh. Ulquiorra, desperate not to lose his king, swung a wing at the hollow's elbow and severed the limb. As it began flying away, he charged lances of zero and blasted the hollow with them until the explosions became too distant to feel. He turned to find Ichigo on his knees. "Lord Ichigo!" he called out in worry. Dropping to the hybrid's side, Ichigo panted heavily and grabbed the arm that still stuck in his body before tearing it out with a roar of pain. Almost immediately, his mask manifested as jaws, and he quickly ate the limb, restoring the most grievous injury. The hole in his chest closed, but his shoulders still burned. He tore away the cloak, and the Shikaku showed to reveal decaying flesh. What's happening? For the first time in his life, Ulquiorra felt helpless and scared. That thing had a needle in its mouth. Ichigo groaned, remembering the sensation of something digging into him as that thing bit him, which left a burning pain like his flesh was dying. Poisoned me with something. He tried to heal, but it only slowed the decay. He was about to cut it off before his instincts screamed at him, just in time to get punched across the roof and into one of the towers. Just as he was about to move again, he was stopped by a strong grip on his throat. He finally had a good look at his opponent. It was almost identical to his hollow form, but with a pitch black skull and shorter horns. The hollow roared in his face, bringing out his tongue, which split up open to reveal a needle in between rows of jagged barbs. "That's what Jin meant." Zangetsu gasped in realization. The hollow tried to bite Ichigo again, but he held the creature at bay after pulling his arms free. "Context, Zangetsu!" he ordered as he struggled to free himself. "What are you talking about?" The hollow was soon pulled off and kicked away by Ulquiorra, giving Ichigo a chance to breathe. "It's very distant in my memory, but I was a proto-Arankar Ichigo," the spirit explained as quickly as it could. Made from many soul reapers and hollows, I had the ability to hollowify others with a poison bite and transfer my being into others, and you became my Zanpakuto as a result. Your point. Ichigo unsheathed his blades and prepared for the next attack. Ulquiorra created another spear. "My name was White," Zangetsu said as Ichigo put the pieces together. So he replicated you?" he asked as he now identified Black, reappearing with a charged Zero blast down at them. The pair blocked the attack, but the pressure was pushing them back. "And this one seems dedicated to killing you. He drank some of your soul and is absorbing your reishi, while the poison he injected you with it is causing soul suicide. I'm slowing it down as best as I can," Sangetsu explained as the odd sensation went through him. I could completely die here. I don't know if I'm worried, pissed, or excited." The pair soon pushed aside. The pair soon pushed aside the Sarah as Black got between them. He kicked Ulquiorra in the chest and sent him flying before tackling Ichigo and slamming him to the ground. "I've been spending too much time around the Saraki," he realized before grabbing onto Black's horns and snapping the creature's neck and throwing him off. "I did not come here and fight my way through the majority of Aizen's forces to die to some knockoff copy of Zangetsu," he roared as he tried to heal again, failing to stop the necrosis. As Black got back up and snapped his neck back, "I will succeed to get my sisters back and kill Aizen," he roared as he launched the Getsuga Tencho, which Black literally inhaled, which gave Ichigo the opportunity to get in front of Black and punch him. "Sokotsu!" He shouted as both fists slammed into the bean's gut, blasting a hole in it and then sending it flying. "Lord Ichigo," Ulquiorra said as he reappeared at his master's side, "can you help my friends, then bring them to me?" Ichigo ordered, seeing Black getting back up. "Are you sure?" the Arankar asked, not wanting to disobey but also concerned about his master. "Just go, I got this." Ulquiorra nodded before going to follow his master's orders. "I hope," Ichigo whispered to himself as he flashed before Black and got ready to fight. fighting Yami. The two titans struggled against the might of the other as Chad's avatar locked arms with Yami's giant form. He took the advantage of having four arms. The shield arms held onto Yami's while his attacking arms pummeled Spada's body. Yami grunted with each flow, never once really fighting something that matched him in size before opening his mouth and charging the Zero. Chad pushed the Spada away and threw up his shield to try and block the blast, which still pushed him back a few thousand feet and severely burned Chad's arm. Gotta admit, you surprised me with that, Yami explained with a savage grin. Got any more tricks that might help you? I'd be glad to crush them all. And Chad was breathing heavily, exhausted from the fight and the energy he burned using Diablo Gigante. He took a step forward before he coughed up blood and felt his heart stop for a second. Come on, don't give out yet, he commanded his body, forcing himself to continue. I need to win and help the others. He pushed forward, firing a twin directo blast and slamming into Yami's body before charging forward, tackling the Rancor to the ground. La muerte! He roared out as he threw punch after punch on Yami's head, creating a deepening crater that sent shockwaves to the Las Noches. As he did that, his nose began to bleed. With Uryu and Tatsuki. Well, if that's all, then I guess we're done here. Uryu said, confirming that the only force left were already engaged in combat with their team, and from what he was seeing, it was only a matter of time before they won. That's when he felt Ichigo get badly injured, and Chadrietsu was fluttering wildly. Tatsuki, he cried out to his allies, I feel it, Ichigo and Sado are in trouble. Tatsuki calmly replied before turning to the twins, stay here and stay safe, you two. Next time, your big brother will personally bring you home, she said with a smile before scowling at the floor. Let's do this, she growled as she began to storm out the door. Nelio got up and turned to her Flacion. Pesha, I'm going with them. Continue to watch over Yuzu and Karin, she ordered as she followed the pair. You sure about this? Uryu asked, still apprehensive about the Rancor joining them, and despite all assurances. Aizen lost my loyalty when he stopped protecting Yuzu and Karin. Nelio returned as they started running. Plus, I'd like to meet this Ichigo everyone is talking about. They entered the main exit hallway to find Orihime, Barry, Lolly, and Melanie up to their necks in the ground. I take it you know, Uryu asked as she started running with them when they reached her. They need our help, Orihime simply stated as her spirit flew around her. Sado is closer, so let's go to him, right? So let's go to him first. Right, the Quincy agreed, and all of us together. That Yami doesn't stand a chance, he said as they exited the building, just in time to see Chad's avatar collapse on the ground next to them as Yami rose back to his feet. Maybe I spoke too soon. With Ulquiorra, the former servant of Aizen found his fellow Rancor resting in the crater he made in his fight with Ichigo. He still had some burns and scarring, but he still rested on the burning sands. Ulquiorra's presence did not go unnoticed as Grimjaw began to stir. The panther opened an eye to see the bat standing over him. I'll be damned, Grimjaw said as he stretched out. I thought you were loyal to Aizen no matter what. I was lying to myself, Ulquiorra told him. I stayed with what was familiar and safe, not accepting a reality when I really could see it. He looked over to where the giant forms of Chad's avatar and Yami were struggling. Ichigo's first order was to help his friends against Yami in that state. Grimjaw asked as he got to his feet. He's just gonna get stronger. Are you scared? The bat asked the panther, getting Bart fangs in a savage smile. Excited. The two nodded at each other before flashing off to fight the Serra Spada with the Stenators and Plevion. That's not good, Basby said as the battling sides turned their attention to the giant Rancor as it beat on Chad. The Quincy and Plevion growled while Bloodburn laughed. They need help, Candace said, extremely irritated now that she was covered in sand and sweat. Candy, you and Basby go. Bambita said as Vera's Reishi appeared around her. We can handle this. The ball shot into the bodies of the foot soldiers Ruben kept creating. I'll catch up when we're finished here. The bombs she planted exploded and took out half of Ruben's army with the Sirisi and Gantenbein killing the rest. But he had another 100 growing already. Go! She shouted as the heat and thunder went off to fight Yami. Fighting Yami. You miserable ant! Yami yelled as his club tail slammed into Chad's Gigante Diablo, causing him to fall in a heap. You had size, but those punches were pathetic. He roared, getting bigger and bigger with his rage, while Chad's avatar dissipated. Why did I have to get the weak one? The next thing that happened was a geyser of flames erupting at the base of his spine. Funka! Tatsuki yelled, revealing herself in the inferno that was burning the Rankar. As he began to react, a series of flashes appeared and rained arrows down on Yami. Orihime soon appeared by Chad, and they sank into the sand, using terror to transport him away from the battlefield. We'll bring you down, you colossal dumbass! Tatsuki yelled as she flashed away from his coming grip. As Yami began to turn, the sand around him began to melt, and he sank into a pit of molten glass. Size isn't everything, Batsby called out at the edge of the pool, but it makes you a much easier target. Next to him, Candace began throwing bolts of lightning while circling around the behemoth Rankar. Yami was screaming as millions of volts of electricity coursed through his being, with every strike cursing when Nelly yelled through her lance, and it drilled right through his backside. He roared out in frustration as a Zero charged in his mouth, firing a sweeping blast in front of him. When he finished, he saw two former allies directly in front of him. Grande Descarona, Grande Lanza, Grimja and Urkiora shouted as the former left 10 massive crisscrossing gashes in Yami's chest, while the latter's spear tore out his eye and part of his face. You turned traitor! Yami roared out after screaming in pain from the attacks. All of you! I'll kill all of you! He was enveloped in red light as his form changed and grew even bigger. The light faded to reveal a gargantuan ape form that was even bulkier than the previous one, had a long tail in place of his multiple legs, multiple curved horns on his head. None of the protrusions and all of his wounds were healed. That ain't fair, Batsby stated, looking up at the giant. Life really is, Ulquiorra responded as the whole group jumped out of the way of his smashing fist. Ichigo versus Black. Far away from Las Noches, Ichigo and Black continued to fight. The necrotic poison that ate away at Ichigo's body left his left arm rotted and dead, forcing him to use Raso Tenkai to continue fighting, and it kept spreading a part of his face, and most of his left torso was slowing, dying, and injuries that Black managed to inflict having slowed down his regeneration. While the rapid and constant movement of fighting helped to spread the toxins, his strength was growing weaker, and even his vast amount of Ryoku was draining away, since Black was able to absorb Ichigo's Reishi even when not using any ready attack. How the hell am I going to kill this thing? Ichigo mentally roared as Black blocked a sword strike, only to receive a hard kick to the stomach. The monster creation rose back up and tried to bite onto Ichigo again, only to get a mouthful of Sangetsu's hollow blade as Ichigo tried to cut off its head. He cursed his reflexes as Black still managed to suck away some of his reishi just from that, but it did give him the window to attack and nearly cut Black in two with his Quincy blade. Not that it did him much good, since Black had similar, if not stronger, regeneration abilities. Nothing I'm doing is affecting it. He threw Black away and tried to think of a new strategy. Then he felt his heart stop and coughed up some blood. Ichigo, the rod has spread to your heart and lungs. Sangetsu informed his wielder. Ichigo's heart started again, but the beating was irregular and his vision was slowly fading. You have to stop this now. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. Ichigo returned, struggling to stand while Black circled around him like a patient predator waiting for its prey to die. I can't afford to take the few seconds I need to regenerate my body while Black's ready to pounce him. Then and give it what it wants. You know the keto. Sangetsu vaguely advised. What keto? It eats keto. And how is that going to? Ichigo mentally rearranged, roared before realization struck. He dropped his guard, and in an instant the Black bit into his flesh. Bakudo 61, Riku Jokoro, Bakudo 79, Kuyo, flesh again, Kuyo Shibari. Ichigo cast, locking Black in place with rods of light and black holes. As its mouth began to burn and red glows and red glowing cracks appearing across the rotting parts of Ichigo's body. Hado 96, Itokaso, the massive shockwave rocked across a Wakemundo before a giant crimson katana blade appeared and exploded, burning away everything. Fighting Yami. Stay still! Yami roared as he smashed a fist into the sand. Basby and Tatsuki barely dodging with their speed techniques. After ensuring the chat's stability and running into Rukia and her companion Orihime returned to offer any assistance she could. Everything they used, they either barely facing him or just bounced off. The only two really effective weapons were Orihime's Masamune and Uryu's Sellish Sniders, but neither were cutting deep enough to really be effective. The worst news was that Yami was still growing, getting more and more frustrated at his enemies. What does it take to kill this guy? Candice roared in frustration, blasting him with as many bolts of electricity as she could muster. Yami's reaction was to swallow like a fly before nearly carried her away. The fighting paused when a shockwave rocked through Las Noches, breaking the walls and ceiling as the building slowly came apart. Everyone paused to wonder what just happened. Everyone except for Uryu, who was keeping tabs on his cousin the whole time. Cover! He shouted as he moved as fast as he could to bring everyone together, putting Yami between them and the coming blast. Orihime erected a barrier with Ichigo Quincy lending a hand. Seconds before, powerful air and fire destroyed the wall and fried Yami. The barrier nearly broke before the explosion ended, leaving a charred black Yami and devastated landscape. The group stood in awe of the destruction and the rest of their side appeared. Oh, what the hell was that? Bambita asked. Cersei and Gantemba flanking her with the Afro Rankar Kyori and Rubana, Dondo Chaka and Pesh showed up shortly after that with a giant eel like a Rankar that carried the Chad and the twins in his mouth, finally followed by Rukia and Roka. My power involved explosions and I've never made one that big. Uryu ignored them as he began running towards Ichigo, powering through the burning heat of the still burning landscape. Lost in concern for his cousin, Yami's massive hand suddenly caught him in a crushing grip. That hurt, he groaned as he rose back up. It still burns so hot. He slowly tightened his grip. I wonder if your blood will help me cool down some. That's when his fist began glowing. Soon after that, blades of light shot through his hand and left him fingerless. Uryu was in his volt sting again and flaring at Yami. I'm not dealing with you anymore. The prince yelled out, brandishing his wings again and flapped. The action shot out thousands of Sellish Schneider feathers that pierced through Yami's mask and skull and leaving the rocker still as a statue before collapsing to the ground. Enjoy the lobotomy, Uryu yelled before flying out to find Ichigo. With Ichigo lay there in the center of a scorched crater, missing most of the upper left body. The poison reached pretty far, taking a part of the heart, one lung, and some of his ribs, all of which was healing very slowly as a result of blacks feasting on Ichigo's Ryoku. The only part that was really left untouched was the tattoo of his hollow mask that Urahara put on him. Black meanwhile matched his name as he was charred to crisp. The bad news was that he was also healing and slowly started to get back up. There's only room for one alpha predator here, a voice said as Black's regeneration eyes saw Sangetsu in a hollow form. Black opened his mouth and shot his nail tongue like a dart, which Sangetsu easily caught and stabbed back into one of Black's eyes, eliciting a mind-numbing screech. The screech was cut off as Sangetsu grabbed Black by the throat and lifting him into the air, face to face with the Sanpakuto spirit. And I don't like competition, he said before quickly devouring the beast. It was healing quickly, but Sangetsu was faster and made sure to get the most from its prey. As he swallowed the last of his opponent, Ichigo's regeneration skyrocketed and had regained his energy. Sangetsu returned to Ichigo's inner world just before Uryu found his cousin. Ichigo! He called out and dropped to the hybrid and tried to wake him up with every shake. Ichigo! Are you alright? Ichigo! That was painful. Ichigo groaned out as he slowly opened his eyes. Sangetsu already informed him of what was going on just before awakening. What's the news, Uryu? He asked, trying to focus on the mission on hand. Yuzu and Karin are safe, and we may have defeated the last of our opponents here in Wakemundo. He reported of helping his cousin back to his feet. I'm not sure about the last guy. I shot my feathers into his head, so he's either a vegetable or dead. I rushed to find you over making sure he died. Feathers? Ichigo asked, finally seeing Uryu's wings. Is that the Volstandig? He asked, pointing at the wings vibrating. Buzz saw feathers in Uryu's bright wings. According to past me, yes it is. Uryu replied. Neat. Ichigo returned, rising to his feet. Okay, let's finish this. He said as he grabbed onto Uryu and flashed back to the group. He saw the senators waiting around, unsure of the next action to take. While Tatsuki and Rukyo were with Yusu and Karin, a female Rankar was tending to an unconscious Chad, while Orihime and his ally Rankar were by Yami's unmoving body. Ichini! The twins cried out as they ran towards their brother. We knew you'd save us. Yusu cried, tears of relief that his horrid episode of their life was coming to a close. Can we go home now? I don't think so, Ichigo answered regretfully, and sad to see his sisters like this. Aizen and the Gotai are likely fighting right now. Then you'll kick his ass, and Karin told him, smiling confidently at her brother. We can wait. Yuzu wiped her eyes to smile at Ichigo before nodding in agreement. Not without us, he heard Grimjaw say, making Ichigo turn to see their bloodied mouths and hear Ukiura swallow. I just had a big meal, and I'm ready to work it off, he said with a savage grin. I will not abandon my rightful king again. Where you go, I follow, Ukiura told him, before both showed their strength in Reiatsu. Ichigo looked down at Yami and saw some bits that were cut off him. Fine, Ichigo responded as he flicked his wrist and opened a massive garganta. But bring Yami, I want to make a point. The two Rankar grabbed their brain-dead former ally and dragged him with them as they ventured back to the world of the living. The rest of you, stay here. I'm finishing this up. Fekarakura Town, end of the last chapter. Ichigo, Ukiura, and Grimjaw held Yami in front of them as they exited the portal between worlds. At once, the three men dropped Yami and let him crash to the ground. Ichigo surveyed the battlefield until he locked eyes with Aizen, who seemed to be very irritated with the hybrid. I broke into your house, took your army, destroyed your castle, and beat your every attempt to kill me. Ichigo stated as fact to the real Aizen among the three people flashing in front of him. Now, I'm going to kill you, Aizen, he almost growled as his eyes turned black and golden. Illustrated guide to Soul Reapers. Rukia finally reappeared. Finally, I can help her with the fight again. She mentally cheered, having felt useless and forgotten for the last couple of chapters. Just then, Uryu shot his attack into Yami's head and made him fall. I was forgotten till the last minute again, wasn't I? End of chapter 67.